Carmin, 12 years old. Match 10. Carmin versus Ryan. Balanced favor, announced Yui. The way the last match ended made me chuckle. I came all the way here to fight strong people, and yet one of the strongest just quit. I walked down a dark pathway with confidence, looking back and forth at the trees that surrounded me as if I was daring one of them to jump at me. Since this was the second tournament I had ever participated in, I was all fired up. I wasn't much of a fighter, but I did have plenty of practice cutting wood and hunting with my plasma sword, so tournaments weren't too much out of my comfort zone, and most importantly, they were really fun. What I was about to experience was, in fact, not fun. I froze, the silence interrupted by the sound of a basketball bouncing. My eyes slowly scanned the area, though it was hard because of how dark it was. A loud crack made my ears hurt a little, which was followed by the sound of the ball bouncing faster and faster, approaching rapidly. Faster than I could see, a purple ball bounced off the tree next to me and slammed into my shoulder before bouncing away. It irritated and burned my skin the second it made contact. I quickly looked around to see where it had come from with no luck. Crack! A second attack was coming. Plasma secreted from my left arm and solidified into a blade. I spun in a full circle, lifting my left foot in the process. I held my right arm over my head and my left in front of me. Slashing stances, stance 2. Spatial slash, I said. The second stance does not miss its intended target. The purple ball rebounded off the tree behind me and flew straight towards my head. I gently set my left foot on the ground in front of me and sliced horizontally. Even though I was facing the complete other direction, the ball was cut in half and dissipated. Immediately after it touched the ground, I froze, exhaled, and waited in silence. Crack! A new ball had been made and was just sent in my direction. I sprinted towards the initial sound, completely ignoring any other sound the ball was making. For a moment I closed my eyes, and I was no longer in the tournament. I was in the forest behind my house. I hadn't eaten yet that day, and I had just heard the unmistakable sound of a hog chewing on grass. The hog saw me before I saw it and began running. It was fast, but I didn't need to see it. From the sound and smell alone, I could tell it was going to my left. I opened my eyes and lunged through a wall of bushes, cutting through the midair. Ryan skidded to a stop and faced me. The final one-on-one fight in the tournament of the New World ends in this very spot. The ball he had thrown earlier zoomed past me, narrowly missing my head, as I tucked into a roll as I touched the ground. Ryan wasted no time making another one. I swung my sword over and over again, each hit being deflected by the ball. I was impressed by his ability to use his quirk both offensively and defensively with no issue. He would hit my arm with the ball from the side, causing me to miss him entirely. Then without warning, he raised the ball over his head and slammed it into the ground beneath us, causing it to bounce and hit me in the jaw. It burned and made my head spin, but I kept pushing forward. Another ball was made, but this time, instead of allowing my strike to be deflected, I stopped mid-swing. With my right hand, I punched him in the jaw and grabbed him. I closed my eyes once again and I was no longer at the tournament. I had encountered a small grizzly bear. It couldn't have been a little older than a baby because it was only slightly taller than me when it stood on its back legs. I didn't want to kill it, only stun it long enough for me to get away, and so instead of stabbing it, I grabbed it by the shoulder with my right hand. I hugged it tightly with my left hand and whispered into its ear, "I'm sorry. This is gonna hurt." In one swift motion, I slammed the bear into the ground as hard as I could before it could even land an attack on me. To the bear, it was only an inconvenience, as it now needs to roll over and stand up. To a human, it would almost ensure a knockout. I learned that the hard way from my older brother. Carmin wins match 10, said Yui. Green sparkles began appearing around Ryan, who was now unconscious on the ground in front of me. It took a second for me to notice the green sparkles flying off of me too. It was hard to pay attention to anything other than my heavy breathing as well as my shoulder and jaw, which were both badly burnt from Ryan's attacks.